Alright, let's pick that back up again. Alright, much better that time. Is that a... yes, it's a spear. Excellent. I will show off why I like the Silver Knight Spear so much later. But suffice to say, very happy that I got one. Ah. That's one of the problems with rolling attacks. It's kind of hard to get a good trajectory. Or it'll change your trajectory, rather. That is a coin. The coins are only good for... say for selling, they're only good for feeding to Framt. Why he likes the coin so much, I have no idea. There you go. Mimics are kind of predictable with their attacks. And yeah, it's pretty easy to sidestep most of them. There's another one down. If we don't get it from another Mimic, and the odds are pretty low, the very last Mimic in the game, which is the main reason why I'm killing them, I don't really need those items, but the very last Mimic you kill in the game is worth, drops a very unique item. Likewise for this guy, it's pretty easy to just go ahead and let him fire at you. Just make sure not to get hit. But just go ahead and trade shots at him. He remains in one place. You don't have to. Makes pretty simple calculus there. This is the next way to approach this door. I haven't been trying these doors. I know they're already locked. That's why I haven't been. You pretty much this is the way that you pretty much have to go to progress in here. And definitely looks like a bedroom. This guy, there is an enemy here. Let me go ahead and see if I can show off a fun trick here. Okay, not quite. Yeah, there is another guy on the other side of the door with a long-range weapon. It is actually possible to hit him through it. And that was me showing off that moves can do exceptionally shield. Cool. Well, not so cool for me. Can't use it. But it's one of the best medium shields in the game. But yeah, showing off how, you know, weapons normally have certain values of poise damage and you know, regular damage that they do with their moves. You know, it tends to, you know, weapons of a certain family, you know, clubs, swords, stuff like that, tend to follow the same patterns there. Kind of getting myself tongue tangled here. But the grab attacks with the catch pull are an exception to that. They will almost always knock enemies down. In exchange for using up a lot more stamina than usual. Over here, if you helped him in Sun's Fortress.
Whatever can be done.
Is Sigmire again.
You again. Let me guess. Were you repelled by the Silver Knight?
Well, by that one spearman.
There's a faker vanguard like you and I. I'll think of something.
And technically the archer did repel me once or twice. Temporarily.
This is quite a fix. You'll need another 3, no, maybe 5 bodies. Quite a fix indeed.
Hey, he's a pretty big guy. You count for 2. I'm 1. That's 3. Okay, gimmick here is you see 2 Silver Knights in the room. Doesn't sound too bad. 1 on 2. Well, there's also a guy right here. That definitely makes it trickier. We're going to go ahead and get his attention first. I said we were going to get his attention first. Okay. There we go. It's a man catcher. Catches mans. One down, 2 to go. These guys have no loyalty to each other. They will do nothing if you start attacking one of them, but you don't enter the range of the other guy. So we will go ahead and just like that. We'll give this last guy a fair fight. Oh, I was kidding. The best part about all that is treasure chest with 2 more Demon Titanite. We have the blacksmith that does boss weapons coming up, so that is perfectly timed. And now to go share the good news.
Oh ho! What's on your mind, friend? Wait, you defeated those monsters? Fantastic! I'm saved! This Knight of Katarina hereby commends you. Take this as a token of my gratitude.
The Tiny Beings ring.
But be warned, gallantry entails great risks. Next time, give me a chance to come up with a plan.
I don't think I included the character creation part on stream. The Tiny Beings ring was one of the 9 or 10, I believe, gifts you could choose for your character at the start of the game. And let's go ahead and let's take the other route from the rooftops this time. And that one had a very misleading message. It said something about slowly regaining your health over time, and which led a lot of people to think you could pick it. Now the funny thing is that this game actually does have a regeneration item. It's a shield, but it doesn't come up until much later in the game. So yeah, if you pick the Tiny Beings ring, you would, well, let me show you. You would get you see where my health bar is at now? You get a tiny increase to your max HP. Absolutely not worth it. So, on with us. This door we'll be dealing with later. Yeah, that is, in fact, a Titanite Demon in a tiny, crowded room. It's one of the roughest fights. Honestly, in my opinion, it's one of the roughest fights in the entire game. So we're going to be doing that later. Likewise, this guy's a pretty tough customer, too, because he can, he can hit at quite a distance with that spear. And right through the obstacles you have to deal with. For quite a bit of damage, too. So we're going to go ahead and try to get a little damage in. Ah. Then try to, there we go. We'll try to get a backstab, but that works as well. Excellent. That was close. Yeah, it's just the case where, on paper, the Silver Knight Spearmen don't seem like that much of a threat, but they can definitely be tricky, especially if you don't have a shield of your own to block their attacks. So let's do the same thing here. Yeah, tried to roll early that time to avoid the attack. Didn't quite work. Yeah, that's why I opened up the door first. Yeah, this way, even now that I've died, as long as I can get back to my bloodstain, then, sorry about that. The bloodstain is secondary to having to do that entire route again. The entire point of that detour was to unlock that one door, because that'll take us back to the balcony, which led onward, or that race hallway rather. Gotcha. I love that move. Unfortunately, it can be blocked, which is why I haven't been using it against the Silver Knights. Okay, let's go ahead, run in there, get our bloodstain back. I've learned my lesson about trying to take care of the enemies first. And that's what I mean. You just can't be anywhere close to the door when that guy's still on the prowl. Now, our best bet here is to kind of wait for him to open himself up. There we go. Yeah, that's definitely what you have to do. We'll just wait for him. Just wait for the opening. And this time we won't trigger him prematurely. We'll use the Slow Master from over here, then lock on, then open up the fight. Alright, took a gamble on that one for that swing. That time it paid off. And, you know, as the Silver Knights have been dropping their armor, that's because you get it all at once right here. Silver Knight armor is pretty cool, especially the chest piece. And it has very high lightning resistance, which is a reflection of their stance. As enemies, they're also pretty resistant to lightning. Unfortunately, it's not green or red, so off it goes. Got to keep our Christmas spirit. All right, over here we go. Now, this area is there's a lot of stuff going on here. As soon as we cross down here, we get a message that we get the Black Eye Orb quivering. That's going to be tied in with the orb that we got from Anastasia's body. We've also got the only two Royal Sentinels in the game. They're pretty tricky. They have the same invincible shield, but they can also cast a couple miracles. They have a chance of dropping their axe, their shield, I believe, or a Titanite chunk. This time we're just going to go ahead and try to lure him over here so we can get back past him and then up those stairs. Ah. Okay. We have to deal with this Silver Knight first before we can do much of anything else. And it'll take time for that guy to cross the stairs. You notice that he blocked with his great bow there. Yeah, enemies can try to do that the same. Although, humorously enough, I don't think you can actually block with a bow in hand, because hitting the block button while you're holding a bow makes you zoom in. There's also a texture issue there where we can see the doors open if we view it from here, but they're still closed, actually. Yeah, we're going through here. I love the shadow effects in this area. You know, see yourself along the wall there. Alright, this guy is the giant blacksmith. He is the one that handles our boss weapons.
Forge your weapons.
You do that with modify. And yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of what you can create here. For example, somebody named Ornstein will be a boss soon. And ditto for Gwendolyn. Manus is from the DLC, which I don't have. I won't be getting to him. But we can turn any of those catalysts into any of those things. Remember, right, Dark Moon, yeah, that's for Faith. So we definitely won't be using that. No, the reason why I held on to the plus 10 lightning spear was if you use the rollback function, that'll turn into a regular spear plus 10, which we can then turn to the Moonlight Butterfly Horn, which will scale with our intelligence. It's still not a very good weapon. That's the drawback. It sucks. There's just really nothing else for it. It does pure magic damage, which means it doesn't run into the scaling issues, but it doesn't do enough of it to make up for the resistances that enemies have. That being said, I'm still going to do it. The alternative is a shield. We can't use those. We'll hold off on the Demon Titanite, as I may have some better use for it later. Alright. I jumped the gun on that roll. There we go. I ran out of stamina there. Okay, still good enough. Of course, for this guy, we can go ahead and greet him with some magic. They do have a little bit of... And that's the tricky thing, too. It's not only that enemies do more damage and they get tougher as the game progresses, but their animations get tricky to deal with, too. It's like a hollow that would be doing a spear attack like that, but have a very exaggerated animation. These guys don't really. And they're pretty quick. Let's go ahead and finish him off. Because I kind of want that demon spear. Let's fight him normally. There we go. Ah, no luck. Maybe next time. Alright, so, back. And yeah, that door opens up. That's a shortcut we can use to get back to the area where we were. That's also kind of what I was holding off for when I mentioned going back to the cathedral and being able to get that item that fell down. That's how you do it. The shortcut and the big one I'll be opening up soon. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now. So first, we know we have another Royal Sentinel to deal with. He is right there. Ah, did that one wrong. There we go. Got a good shot on the angle. Yeah, if you kind of get a feel for their patterns of how often they attack and how they move their shields when they attack, those guys are a lot more manageable. And now that's actually drawing it properly, we can see the door is still closed, but not for long. If you don't plan on doing PvP in Anor Londo, it can make sense to leave the door closed. You know, basically this entire zone is all valid for somebody to be summoned into. It can make it a pretty big pain to try to chase somebody down. Yeah, I don't know why the giant gate wasn't a separate area, but well, I guess I kind of do, because the outer area is accessible from in here too. If you blink and you miss it, it's understandable, but there is a broken out stained glass window here, similar to the one we went into the church in. And that leads over here. It's possible to fall such that you end up on the outside of the railing and get to drop right back down. But if you don't, and that's the reason why we dealt with the gargoyles early, it takes you right back here. Okay. Well, that's about all we can do here in Anor Londo. Let's take a... Well, so I do want to get a Silver Knight... I do want to get a Silver Knight sword before we go. I also need to see if I can buy anything from this guy. He's the one that sells Twinkling Titanite. You know, it's pretty expensive, but he's the only source for it. He also gets you large Titanite at a slightly cheaper rate than the merchant in Sen's Fortress. We won't have the strength to use that, and we're doing a no cheesy. Yeah, try to avoid the overpowered stuff, which the giant armor certainly is. it has the poise of it's some of the highest poise in the game, plus it's upgradable. You know, it ends up being pretty much the best armor when you're done with it. So we won't be using that. I think we'll get it. Yeah, I'll get one more Twinkling Titanite for 1, 2, 3. Yeah, for 3 upgrades. And yeah, do that for now. Alright, at this point, back to the bonfire. And let's try a few more. We still need to beat the Silver Knight and some Silver Knights and that remaining Titanite Demon. Don't look forward to doing that. Not in that crowded room. Let's see if I can show off the thing I was talking about earlier, with being able to jump off onto the hallway there. I'll give it a couple tries. I've never really been very good at this. There we go. That saves us some Silver Knights to deal with in there. Sorry, his tail can't hit you. Ooh. Oh, that was quick. Yeah, that's a drawback of trying to go in with light armor. Okay, give one more try against him, before I just go ahead and say screw it and do it the easy way. So, hidden body, get as close as possible to him. Let's try that. So we got, so where is it again? Ah, right over here, right. There we go. Let's do magic weapon again. Hidden body. Oh, it's all the way over there. But yes, the thing that I had forgotten to do earlier that I was meaning to was we don't really need to get any more catch poles. If you don't need the cup of spring. Oh, ouch. Saw that coming. Ah. I thought I could panic button out of there. So yes, yeah, this is a lot of great heavy soul arrows you have to hit this guy with. So that's that was all 7, and a little bit more. So that's going to be around 4,000 HP. Yeah. Okay. Whew. And now back to the bonfire. Just go ahead and take another few silver knights. Get a couple more souls on the way. Because we definitely don't need magic weapon. Unfortunately, yeah, let's do great. We got great soul arrow. That looks good. Alright, once more. This time to go deal with the boss. Boss says. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good at all. They warned me that wasn't going to be any good. I should have listened. Spear battle. It is possible to circle around them. Especially if you can catch them while they're winding up. But yeah, I don't see this ending well. But it's worth a try. Oh, also, need to switch back to our appropriately Christmassy outfit. And let's do... Oh, I didn't actually buy the lightning stoneplate ring. So for now, let's just do that. Alright. This is what we brought Hidden Body for. Let's go ahead and short circuit this part of the area. Normally you have to run past this guy every time. If you make yourself invisible, he doesn't notice until it's too late. The rushing attack of Smough is a big one of his you have to look out for. And they both kind of pin you into a corner, and you're kind of out of luck on that run. In we go. And the main thing with this fight is you have to pick one of the two to focus on. Whichever one you fight second, or whichever one you kill first, rather, turns into the second part of a two-stage boss fight that you have to beat on his own. And you really have to count on Ornstein missing with those dashes if you ever have to back away and heal. Smough's hammer attack, you really have to really have to get away from it. It's difficult to roll through. Actually doing a little bit of damage to him. I was afraid I got too greedy on that one, but it looks like it paid off, at least for now. Smough is slow enough that even when he tries to dodge your attacks, sometimes you still get him. Alright, Ornstein, give me some space. The one advantage to fighting these guys with spears is how much reach you have to work with. You can try to pick your spots from further away. You'd have to if you had to get right up on them. Yeah, that on the ground move he hit me with really kind of tipped the scales there. to swing at you anyway. Might hit you, might not, but it's not worth the risk. Ornstein has a couple different ways of trying to open up this fight. Generally, the easiest one for me is if he is that lightning attack, because you want to get behind a pillar anyway, trying to do something to separate you, trying to separate the two of them. He just hopped right in my lap. It also got me a stagger on Smough, gives me some time to. Normally you'd want to capitalize on that to get extra hits, but in this case, an extra hit wouldn't have made as much difference as living to fight another day. And yeah, he can change directions as part of that charge too. This is generally a good part of the fight if you can pull it off. They kind of get in each other's way there. And yeah, if he starts doing that dash move at point blank range like that, you want to. I want to get out of here. But you want to get hit by the rush and not the swing. It does less damage. Ooh. That's what happens if you let them get too close. You let us start covering each other. Even as they destroy the pillars, the bases of them will never go away. So that can still be useful to at least block the lightning, break off small charges. Ornstein generally ignores them. That time I had to kind of I had to try rolling at an angle to get away from that lightning. Yeah, once they really start coordinating like that, you have to get some distance, and I don't think they're going to let me. Alright, try to use that pillar base for cover. Ornstein having none of it. This is a spot you don't want to be in, with most of your Estus gone, with the second half of the fight still to come. At this point, I kind of sense I can finish Smough off in one, so I go ahead and go for it. Not quite one, as it turns out, but all right. These two, some ways easier, some ways harder. It's even less forgiving, arguably. Your chances of getting one-shotted, especially by a certain move that both of them share now, is much higher. But they're also both exploitable. In Ornstein's case, you basically have two different ways of dealing with him. You want to either be able to trade magic with him, which, as you can see, his magic resistance is high enough. That's a pretty dicey proposition. But you can do it. I'm going to go ahead and trade a couple hits, show that you can basically get into a pattern here. Oh. That's the dangers of getting into that pattern. Now, the other thing you really need to do is get up pretty close to him, where the lightning bolts he throws cannot hit you. Oh, that's a big risk. If you dodge it properly, that move leaves him open. That's one of the best things that he can do from your point of view. So we're going to go ahead and rely on the cover here to rebuff. Oh, that was some really weird delay there. That's the move. Okay. Well, I am out of Estus. Oh, but somebody kindled a bonfire. That was timely. Rolled too early. Well, I don't think I can count on another one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and show off a use of humanity that doesn't usually come up too often, and that's to get a heal out of it. Really should have been further away before trying that. You are locked in the animation for a fair bit of time. Interestingly, sometimes when he drives his spear into the ground like that, it's to thrust upward immediately afterward. I think with this one you can actually do this. Yeah, you can. His attacks get blocked by the pillar. If you're close enough, yours do not. Though, yeah. Let's walk away. He was not impressed. Oh, that's what I get for trying to cheese him. Alright, my bloodstain is right over here. It's not too bad. Oops. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen. From while you're using a fog cloud or fog door. So let's go ahead and put on our flip ring real quick, and that'll help us get around these guys. Smough is the enemy. That's a much better amount of damage. Not optimal. You can kind of see already how much more HP Smough has than Ornstein. And how his hammer will block attacks just like the bronze shield of those giant sentinels does. Yeah, Ornstein took about as much damage in a hit that did 250 as Smough did in a hit that did 400. Ah. Go for the... Oh! The second... He pulled short on that second swing, and that almost cost me. Yeah, that second fight went much faster and much easier, and that's the difference between going from mid-roll to fast roll. Because you walk a little more quickly, you dodge much more easily, and yeah, that's what you need to do. You have to create distance, rely on the right moments. That takes timing, and that's what. Yeah, as much as the Christmas pants were fun, it just wasn't a good life choice, or I guess undead choice in this case. Let's go ahead and get in a fireball war with Ornstein again. Well, he's having none of that. Okay. Just want to play some Street Fighter here. Toss fireballs back at each other. Somebody busts out an Ultra. That's what I meant. Yeah, it looks like he only does it if you're close enough for the second hit to finish you off, basically. Yeah, generally, if you start backpedaling as soon as you can, and generally if you start backpedaling as soon as you can and roll once, that'll be enough to get out of the lightning. Okay. Doing better this time. I took the chance there that he was going to try something like that. Oh! Yeah, the shockwave on that lightning attack. It is a shame that this game doesn't have boss magic the way that Dark Souls 2 does. Yeah, no fair cheating, dude. Because being able to get that actual lightning bolt of lightning that he can do there would be a lot of fun. Ah. Ooh, that was close. As it is, you do kind of get to play around with something similar with the Sunlight Spear from another boss soul, but it's not quite the same. Ah. You like how you can just casually walk away from me, and that's good enough. And oh, sorcery for the win. So yeah, just re-equipped with light gear and the flip ring and a win on the first try. That's Dark Souls. The big reason why you might want to beat Ornstein second, Smough first, is that's probably the easier way to handle the fight anyway. Well, I take that back. Ornstein, if you're equipped for this fight, is probably the easier one to kill, since he tends to come right at you. It's easier. It's much easier to get them separated in favor of Ornstein than Smough. But I do think Ornstein has the easier second phase of the fight. I mean, just imagine Giant Smough chasing around with that hammer attack, and yeah. This is another bonfire. We're at the end of Anor Londo. The whole reason we came here coming up. And no, I don't mean the giant lady. I mean what she gives us.
Thou hast journeyed far, and overcome much, chosen undead. Come hither, child.
If you say so.
Chosen undead, I am Guinevere, daughter of Lord Gwyn and Queen of Sunlight. Since the day Father his wounded obscureth, I have awaited thee. I bequeath the Lord vessel to thee.
In addition to being what we need to finish the game, the Lord Vessel is, yeah, lets us war between bonfires. You can do that as is in Dark Souls 2, which, you know, is a big advantage, but, you know, it's not so far in the game. Well, it's a little over the halfway point in this one, I would say.
Thou shalt endeth this eternal twilight, and avert further undead sacrifices.
Okay. He also has a covenant. The Princess Guard is designed for co-op healers, basically. It unlocks access to miracles that you'll be getting a little bit later in the game, and only that covenant, members of that covenant, can use them. I'm going to go ahead and level up a little bit more. Remember, the goal is 36 int, so whatever gets us moving there is the way to go. We also need to deal with that matter of the Black Eye Orb. So, let's do that. But first we got these guys. Hidden Body, to avoid getting shot by that archer. One of these for damage, and one of these for more damage. Should have planned. Oh, there we go. So I was starting to say I should have planned that better, but no, I had that planned just right. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Anywhere in this room, basically, is fair game for the Black Eye. And it is in here somewhere. I should have figured it'd be closer to the top with the other crystals and orbs and things. This is kind of a teaser for a covenant that it's actually accessible here in Anor Londo, but we couldn't get to it yet. That's the Dark Moon, and their whole raison d'etre is to deal with people that have committed sin. You remember when I didn't talk to Alvina correctly, and broke that covenant. That's how you get that counts as a sin if you don't get it pardoned with Oswald. Lautrec is another interesting one. You can see he's got some phantoms with him. I haven't done any co-op here. Phantoms that you bring with you, with those signs you've seen scattered around, those have that white glow that his buddies do. So this is another interesting, not really interesting, this is another accurate warning if you try doing the Dark Moon thing. Often it's not, it'll be you against 3 of those guys. So we buff. We will go ahead and go after the Sorcerer first. If we can deal with their ranged support, the rest of this will be cake. So wake up call. And done. Not very sporting, but... Now the interesting thing with this one is that the other guy looks fairly armored. That's actually the warrior set. So we know he doesn't actually have poise, whereas Lautrec looks like he's actually got some armor on. So you have to be a little more careful with him. There's only one fitting way for this to end. Ah. The man catcher will catch him. Alright, fine. I count that as a moral victory. And that bit was just a little bit of fun to show off that, that if you actually die after basically how it works for the Phantom system is it handles a resolution, whether it's the host dying or the invader or whatnot. And once that happens, you're good. Even if you die afterward, doesn't matter. So we get the humanity. Lautrec has been helping himself too. I think if you use an item that sucks humanity from humans, you get a fair amount from Lautrec just because he's holding it. And of course, Anastasia's Firekeeper's soul. We'll have to get that back to her at some point. The Ring of Favor and Protection, a lot of people will get by killing Lautrec. He drops it. And it's a very good ring, but it's overpowered, so we're not using it. Alright, the Archer is right above me. Let's go deal with him. You also may notice, if you have Eagle Eyes, that I had my spells and HP recharged doing this. That's because if you successfully perform a invasion or a co-op event, you participate in some matchmaking, it will go ahead and restore your stuff, your HP, your spell casts. Now, when the game was a little more active, one thing that I would like to do is, let's see if we can finish the job. Nice. One thing I would like to do is kind of get to the boss, and then put my summon sign down, and kind of get a feel for it, and of course get the recharge, get the spells back and everything, and yeah, it is a good way to try things out. With the Lautrec dead, that also makes another interesting thing pop up. This is another cool thing that will be showing up later in the game. Showing up again, rather. I mean, it's an area we could have gotten to already. That is, if you kill a phantom, then sometimes it drops something for you in the real world. Or in this case, if you kill a phantom in the real world, it drops something later in the same world. That doesn't make quite as much sense, but you might deal with it. Firelink being, of course, we gotta talk to him too. Firelink being the place where the guy who told us to retrieve the Lord Vessel is.
Heavens, you have done it.
And he's pretty excited.
You have retrieved the Lord Vessel. After 1,000 years, it is you. It is really you.
Ebullient Serpent. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Forgive me. I really should calm down. Now, Let us take that vessel on a journey. I assume that you are ready. Now, be still.
Yeah, I do like the fair warning because like the little grunt it plays. That's the first sound of the kind of two-part thing when somebody dies. It's like a grunt then a longer note. That must be the generic wounded sound too. But yeah, it's a nice touch. Well, even though it is, well, let him finish talking.
For the successor of Lord Gwyn. Now, place the Lord vessel on the altar.
Now, even though it is a week before Christmas, and we have our Santa hat on, we're gonna be a bit of a Scrooge here, and not place the Lord vessel for him. The reason for this is if we do, that will lock out some more content later, and if there's some stream activity, we might do a vote on which guy to side with, or I just go with that. But regardless, we don't want to close that option out. So you don't have to just leave. Now, this won't remove the golden fog. We still have to place the Lord vessel for somebody first. We still have to place the Lord vessel, rather. We can also place it for ourselves. You can skip Framt and just go down that pit without him and place it on your own. He isn't too happy about that. Alright, back to Firelink. To actually do some good this time. R.I.P. Lautrec, you were a jerk to the end. You go back here and give Anastasia her soul back. It's a pretty nice thing to do. Merry Christmas. You're alive. There's a lot of things a lot of places you could go with that. Let's just
Thank you. I am Anastasia of Astora. Now I can continue my duty as a keeper. But I only hope that my impure tongue does not offend. Forgive me.
Unfortunately, she doesn't do much for us.
I am impure.
It's actually generally a better
My
idea
tongue
to
never intended
just
to rest
use her Firekeeper soul with another Firekeeper and upgrade your Estus
If you
Flask.
have
The
any hope,
thing that she does that's different is that
leave
as you
me
defeat the bosses of the routes opened up by the Lord Vessel, those other three, you continuing more of the game, she will kindle Firelink extra on her own, which is pretty cool. Especially if you never really bother with the rite of kindling, giving up humanity, all that stuff. Sorry.
I wish.
There are a total of, I want to say there are exactly 7 Firekeeper souls in the game, and you can use all 7 on your Estus Flask. I believe there are 4 normally, and and there's 3 Firekeepers you can kill for their souls. If you're a monster.
Well, fancy meeting you here. You did much for me up above. I am grateful. I was thinking, the gates, the old fortress. Was that your doing? Yes,
If you try to be humble, he won't give you a reward, and I think that might lock out the quest. I don't recall. But regardless, this is your only chance to get this spell. We can't use it, but
as a token of my gratitude.
and it actually kind of sucks in this game, unfortunately. It's a very long casting time.
There you are. I'll be heading down below shortly. There's nothing worthwhile up above. No worries. Venturing is my life. I'm prepared for the worst.
Okay. By down below, the first place is Blighttown. We'll be meeting him again later. And finally use Firelink again. Let's do one more point of int. No, one more vitality. Is that a good choice? One more int. Okay. at this point, we definitely want to advance in the Duke's Archives. That's basically the first stop for the sorcery-oriented character. It was also kind of tricky because a lot of the enemies there are resistant to magic, which is the source of most of our damage. So we're going to make a little bit of a detour first. And let's see, what would be good equipment for that? Oh, this is fine. Do a bit of a detour first. And do that stuff in Anor Londo I mentioned. And yeah, I am taking the long way around because I do want to take another shot at those that painting guardian sword. Gargoyle does not respond. Oh, and this also reminded me that I forgot to get this earlier. It's either a demon Titanite or a Titanite chunk. Don't leave without it. Yeah. Don't never say no to free treasure. Alright, back through here, and then back into the Painted Guardian area. Now, our magic loadout is going to be a little bit different in this part. Their HP is low enough, and my int is now high enough that, well, none of that matters, because we're using a catalyst with fixed magic adjustment, which we may need to revisit soon. Let's go ahead and check that. That's a flat 180, like it always was. Yeah, with our int at 29, we've now overtaken it, and we're doing more damage with a different catalyst now. Almost the same with the spear, for example. So, bye-bye Ulasil Catalyst, you carried us quite a ways. But yeah, we're going to want the Covetous Ring for drop rate. We're actually going to want the Wolf Ring here to be able to tank their hits and get the guaranteed kill regardless. Yeah, I forget the idea with this one is to bring this one down to... Because that's actually the highest point that we brought it to. And you want to be in the middle to get to this one, and the bottom takes us all the way down to the Dark Moon bonfire. So the higher catalyst, the magic adjustment. Let's go and try this out. This guy hiding right back in the corner. Now we do have to be careful. The Wolf Ring will Wolf Ring will get us through the attacks. We'll still take damage. If you get overwhelmed, you will still die. That's doing not quite enough. Let's see if we can switch this out and put our Christmas pants back on. Yeah, that gives us a fair bit of poise. Now the Painted Guardian Sword. Nice. Oh, not quite enough. Okay, so we have to put on our Princess Tiara as well as the ring to one-shot them, which I'm not comfortable with doing. Oh, did he block that? Oh, he did block it, okay. They do have shields. They remember to use them sometimes. More throwing knives. Worthless to us at this point in the game. Probably worthless, you know, when you first get them, with a handful of exceptions. See if that works. Excellent. So it's getting us through this pretty well. They can backstab you. You have to be really cautious about leaving your back to them to grab items. Alright. That's one of the guys that fell down from above. And this is, speaking of things falling from above, that's what we came here for, primarily. We'll also be showing off this area. That's another fun set. Is it the NPC that we could have used for the we could have used with the Iron Golem and didn't? Where's this set? Even down to his weapon and shield. And since we got a certain this lovely painting, think about that while I go ahead and call attention to our key items. A cold and lonely painted world. Well, getting a little Mario 64 here.